Good morning, students. Welcome to today's session on tidal energy under the course Renewable Energy Resources, course code being 216652. Myself, Varkana Cheske, Assistant Professor, Department of Triple AGV Bangalore. So let's move on to today's topic of discussion on the tidal energy. As the name suggests, tidal, which is coming from the ocean. So the energy which is able to tap from that, we call it as tidal energy. They are usually a periodic rise and falls of the large bodies of water, and the gravity plays a major role over here. So during the period 1687, Isaac Newton, they explained that ocean tides they result from the gravitational attraction of sun, moon on the oceans of the earth. So the spring tides they are especially strong tides that occurs when the earth, sun and the moon they are in the line, all three in the same line. The gravitational force of the moon and the sun both contributes to the tides. The spring tides they occur during the full moon and the new moon, and the neap tides they are especially weak tides. So they occur when the gravitational forces of the moon and the sun are perpendicular to the one another with respect to that of Earth. So these neap tides occur during the quarter moons, and the tidal energy it is a form of the hydropower which converts the energy of the tides into the electricity or some other useful forms of power. The tide which is created by the gravitational effect of the sun and the moon on the earth is causing the critical movement of the seas. Therefore, tidal energy it is an entirely predictable form of renewable energy. Until recently, the common plan for the tidal power facilities involved erecting a tidal dam or the barrage. So, with sluice across a narrow bay or estuary. So, as the tide which flows in and out, creating uneven water levels on either side of the barrage. This sluice is open and the water flows through the low head hydro turbines to generate the electricity. For a tidal barrage to be feasible, the difference between the low and high tide must be at least 5 meters. So the energy naturally which is present in the ocean body or their movement they can be used for the generation of electricity. This is achieved broadly in the following ways. So, tidal energy during the rise period of the tides, water is stored in a water reservoir constructed behind the dam on the shore. This potential energy of the stored body, this is used to generate the electricity, which is similar to that of conventional hydropower plant. So, for the tidal energy methods to work efficiently, the tidal difference should be on the at least 4 meters and above. So, coming to that of wave energy, using the kinetic or dynamic energy of the ocean, wave is utilized to rotate an underwater power turbine and generate electricity thereon as an underwater wind farm. So this will be discussed later on. So ocean thermal energy will be discussed with respect to that. Will be in detail. And so tidal energy resources they are the waves which is caused due to the gravitational pull of the moon and that of the sun. Although it is usually pull is very low. The rise of the seawater, this is called as high tide, and the fall in the seawater is called as a low tide. And this process of rising and receding of water waves happen twice a day and causes enormous movement of the water. Thus, enormous rising and falling movement of water is called as the tidal energy. So, what it is called as the largest source of energy, this can be harnessed in many coastal areas of the world. So, usually tidal dams they are built near the shores for this purpose, in which the water flows during high tide and the water flows out of the dam during the low tides. So, thus the head created results in turning the turbine, which is coupled to the electrical generator. So, the tidal energy has been developed on a commercial scale among the various forms of energy which is contained in the oceans. So, when the moon, earth, and the sun they are positioned close to a straight line, the highest tide called as the spring tide which occurs. So when the earth, moon, sun are at the right angles to each other, we call it as moon quadrature. The lowest tide occurs, we call it as the neap tides. Okay. The water mass which is moved by the moon's gravitational pull when the moon is very close to the ocean and results in dramatic rise of the water level, that is the tide cycle. The tide starts receding at the moon, which continues its travel further above the land, away from the ocean, reducing its gravitational influence on the ocean water. We call it as the ebb cycle. So the major availability of the energy we can say gravitational forces between the moon and earth which causes the rhythmic rise and fall of the ocean waters throughout the world. So those results in we call it as tidal waves. The moon exerts more than twice as great a force on the tide on the sun due to its much closer position to the earth. As a result, this tide closely follows the moon during its rotation around the earth, so creating the diurnal tide and ebb tide at a cycle, particularly ocean surface. So the amplitude or the height of the tide wave is very small in case of the open ocean, where it measures several centimeters in the center of the wave, which is distributed over the hundreds of kilometers. So, however, the tide can increase dramatically when it reaches continental shelves, which brings the huge masses of water into the narrow bay. So across the world, we can see the distance over here. So in the Canada, around 16 to 17. We'll see in a table wherein we'll get an idea. So Canada records around 16.2 highest tide range, England 14.5, France in the range from 13 to 14, Russia around 10, Argentina 13, India is in the range of 8 to 11. Okay, so the major possibility of the tide power scheme in India, this can be examined as economic aspects of the tide scheme when compared to that of the conventional scheme, problems which are associated with the construction and the operation of the plant. So problems which are related to the hydraulic balance of the system in order to minimize the fluctuations and environmental effects of that of scheme. Hope the session was very much useful. Do subscribe to our department channel for more lively updates. So any queries with respect to this video, you can write down at workman@sgbt.edu.in. Thanks for watching the video.